Alright folks, so I'm starting a new one here. This is a little rocky waterfall scene. It's hard to make it out entirely, but there's some rocks up here and down in here and what have you. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is add in some of the darks. Now, I'm going to get a bit of kitchen room. So what I have here over on the palette is a mix of Galcade, stand oil and some Gamsol, and it's 40 milligrams in weight, 40 milligrams of Galcade, 30 milligrams of stand oil and 150 milligrams of Gamsol. Right, now this will help loosen everything up, and it'll help thin out the paints, help loosen everything up, and all of that. Okay. Right, so beginning here, just a nice darks to begin with. I went too deep into that. I didn't realize that it was so high. Anyway, I'll just start here again. All right. Bum, 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 bum. Nice darks and lights and greens and what have you. All right, okay. Now, basically, that's kind of it for this tone. There's a lot of mixing around, so there is a lot of mixing up. And I'm just creating some texture by doing this, and then dabbing this on and leaving some of the texture behind here and there, and hopefully you'll see it come together in time. Nope, bit brighter, a bit brighter down the edges along here, bit of a brighter tone here, just to get that set in there to begin with. And then I'm going to change brushes here and create a nice bluish shade here. Bam, ba, boom. A nice bluey violet. So ultramarine blue and some cadmium red, mostly blue. A little bit of black and a little bit of raw umber, just to grey that way too much raw umber. A little bit more blue, a little bit more blue, and a little bit more cadmium red. Now, be a little bit more careful this time with this mixture. It's just right filled right up, and I stuck the brush right down to near the bottom of it and picked up too much. Right, so let me see, where are we? Here we go, here we go. I think that might be a bit too blue. A little bit of black in it. A little tiniest bit of oxide red, just to help knock it back a touch. There we go. There we go, and I can kind of just go along, and I want lots of different different colors in this, you know. So I'm just going to do a few at a time and give it that second or two just to set up, you know. That's all. Yeah, just along here, a little bit of a bluer one, a bit more violet. Just along there, a little bit more violet than that. Okay, trying to keep things transparent is all. Okay, right, so I'm going to get my trusty thingy-majig out. Just dabbing away at it and creating textures. all those little dimples and what have you that you get in rocks. This is one way of doing it. Now I'm going to lay down just some basic under rock tones here. Okay, so a good bit of liquid of that mixture is all. Okay. Don't want it setting up too quick. It dries quite quickly, so there's an awful lot of Gamsol in it. Not afraid to be mixing much down as well here. The whole idea is just to cover this up. A little bit darker in here. See that? A little bit blue. Just keeping it rightly. Lovely. Now, I'm moving away, too far away from the colours I'm looking for. So give myself a nice light blue, a little bit of white in it this time, which I have yet to get to. Just a second. Oh, there we go. A little bit of white. That's nice. A little bit more of this mixture. Just plathering it about here and there and here. Just with the idea of keeping this nice and blue in places. Nice and cool. Now, let me just keep an eye on my mind here. And just saying to you that it's important to me to create as much texture in these things as is possible. Not always easy, but as much as is possible. Possible. Alright, okay. Alright, let's continue with our daubing. Lovely. Bum ba da bum, ba ba da bum. Bum bum bum. Keep remembering, folks, this is an underpainting, folks. It is nothing more. And as much as I'm after a little bit of accuracy, I don't need too much at this stage. Just let me see. Just give myself a momento to stand back. Have a wee look. Okay, we're getting there now. I'm not going to spend too long messing around on this one, on the underpainting. No need for it today. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the upper part of it here. Just continue with my texture creating device. Alright. And let me just see. I think I will get myself out a couple of smaller brushes because I'm working up at the top here and it's a bit what is it? It's a bit smaller. I'm just going to use smaller brushes to allow myself to get away with it a bit. Okay, now boom, 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 boom. Very nice. Just mixing with what's down there. No, that's fine for now. Boom, 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 boom. Right, okay. I see enough. So tell me, folks, here's a question of the times. Should a person delete bad comments so they don't have to look at them, or just leave them up? I rarely, if ever, so I must emphasize this, I rarely, if ever, get a bad comment, but I got one relatively recently, and of course I'm not going to say what was in it and all of that, and no point in going that far with this question. But I deleted it immediately, and then was wondering, should I have deleted it? Part of me says, yeah, no point in hanging on to negativity. And the other part is like, yeah, but sometimes I'm not sure if I have, let me put it this way, I'm not sure if I have an argument for why I should keep it. I don't think I do. But anyway, I deleted it, and I'm wondering if I should have deleted it. What do you think? Oh, and asking this question will also tell me how many people watching this far. But that wasn't the plan. Right. Boom, boom, boom. Now, where is it here? I just want to create a nice greenish tinge that I can use at a wee bit of a later date. Okay, yeah. Right, where am I now? Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Right, now, I want to work on this blue here. Bum, 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 bum. Just scraping this on for the time being, folks, just to give myself an idea of where I want things to be. Alright. And like I say, these rocks down here, they're all going to end up many different colours. Lots of variations in them, but they're going to be mainly a grey rock colour, I suppose. So I'm just setting the scene for that to happen. Okay, so that's the point of what I'm doing at the minute. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. So I'm not being too careful, folks, because there's a lot of work on this one. And work, of course, is the wrong term, I suppose. There's a lot to do on this one. I don't like using work because it has bad connotations for some people. But it is there. Right, now let's just go along and gently lay the odd thing here and there. Excuse me. Bum, boom, 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 boom. Now you see I'm just laying down my blues here, my cools. All right. This is basically putting on here, basically pure ultramarine, just at the minute. I hope to have a load of this popping through whenever the time comes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the whites of the board here for some of the whites of the for the painting. There's still a bit of work to do here before we can finish. Now, I know a few of you follow along here. So now all I'm doing here is just adding in just some coloration in the water that's there, that I want there. And like I say, there's a little waterfall up in here too. So if you want to follow along, all you have to do is give a rough drawing of the original, of you saw of my drawing. Just do a rough drawing on your own canvas and then just come along with me whenever you feel like it, at your own pace. Pause and what have you whenever you need to. That's how some of them do it. But I will la-di-da-dee-dee. A nice violet grey here. Oh, I am again used a bit too much raw umber, but that's fine. I've got myself a nice violet-y grey here. Trying to make sure that I maintain a lot of that rock colour underneath. Lovely, very good. Coming out rightly, innit? Coming out rightly. I'm kind of almost done with this. So I is. All right, another little rock in there, just bringing everything down. Just dabbing this on, creating some texture again, folks. It will show up well whenever I'm coming along and putting highlights. And now you can see that immediately darkening down and becoming something right before your own very eyes. You saw it happen here. All right, okay. That's enough of that nonsense, eh? Bum, bum, bum. Ba, ba, bum. Now, I'm out of ultramarine blue. So I'm just going to go and put a little tiny bit out to finish this off. Trying to open it with all my might. Okay, so a little bit brighter. Just want to create that blue-gray that rocks have, blue-gray velvety colors. That's nice. Nice texture. So it is. It's a nice texture. I'm just having a wee look to see. I'm going to put in some white. I've changed my mind. I'm going to just put it in. I'm going to put in the darker sides of the white. The darker sides of the white. The darker tones of the white. I just get them in. In fact, I might cover the whole thing with it. Okay. Now, good bit of that mixture that I have. Let me see. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna play with it just. It's okay. Trying to stay, for the time being, close to the whiter areas, so that I'm not messing around with my mixture that I have here. Just for the time being, up in here too. Bum bum bum, ba bum bum bum. Let me see. Okay. Now I am putting this green here into it, but it's mostly just going to be the slightest of tones. And there's a number of ways you could do this. I could have glazed it in, which, you know, I might end up doing in order to finish the job. You know, but still, here we be. Here we be. This is where we are. Right, what needs doing and what doesn't need doing. Ba-ba-bum. 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 Right. Yeah, well, get a new brush, a clean brush, sorry. Just a little clean one. Oh, not that one, not that one. This one. This one, this one. Ba, 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 ba. That's good. Leaving that colour behind here. Sorry, leaving that tone behind here. After all these years, every time I say colour, I always mean tone, but still can't get the saying in my head for some reason. Anyway, 'tis what it is, eh? Could be worse. There we go. Bum, 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 bum. Well, while I'm here, I'm just going to add in a little bit of a thing at the back here. Just while I have it on the brush. There we go. It's just nice, those nice greys that little blue, cerulean blue can produce. Beautiful, beautiful greys. Get ourselves a bit of a distance there, if you can see that already. Now I will say that the greens that are down are a little too saturated, so I'm just going to use this sky colour here. And just sorry about that, folks. I ended up having to pause the video there just for those wee coffee moments. Anywho's. Just greying this area out a bit is all. Get myself a nice wee palm tree up there soon enough. Palm tree? Palm tree, pine tree. Okay. I think just a few things that I want to do is all before I stop. Okay. Just the odd detail here and there is all I'm after. Just let that live up in there for the time being. Oh, I forgot about this one here. Alright. Oh, very nice, very nice. And a little dab here and there again. Just to create that. And let me see a wee bit more along these ones. Not too much, but just where the odd highlight might be. That type of thing. And I think before I eventually just walk away, I'm just going to put in a few highlights. Just a few. Just let this do its thing. No. Not so bad now. And of course I'll come along with my kitchen roll and sort that out now. So I'll actually get a clean piece of kitchen roll. I'll just dump it, bump. There we go. It'll keep me right. So it will right. Again, just to keep me right is all this is for. And I want to add a little bit of a break here in the rock. Almost semi-transparent, just following my lines here and just. And all that is for, this is not a final piece at all. All this is for is just to remind me to put the little cracks and creaks in these things. believe this will be one of the last strokes here. Let me see. There we go. Just keeping that there. Right, okay. And now I'm going to take a wee step back. Actually, before I do, I'm just going to again just tidy this up a bit here. As much as I want. Oh no, I forgot about something, folks. I forgot about the little bit of blending that I would want to do on this. Just overall softening everything. Blend it all together so that I can come along and create some defined edges. Alright, now as you can see, a barely noticeable blend there, not much, but look, now we're getting some textures along these rocks down here. And I'm going to, before I go, I'm going to define this edge here just so that I know that it's there. Ba, 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 ba. Now, I think I'm going to really cover the guts of this side of this rock here with water, so if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it now to remind myself to do it. As if the water is splashing up over it. Okay. And I'll also give a little bit of an idea of a semi-transparency of the of this rock, or of the water coming over the rock. I don't like the shape of this rock, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of a rougher top on it here. Okay, just to break that up a little bit. Right. Now just while I'm here, folks, while I have the colours on the thing, I'm doing is just creating the idea of it. But I really don't want to go too far here. So I think I'll call it a day. Just straightening the edge of that rock a touch. Right, okay folks. And that will do. And I'll see you when I come back to finish this. And as you can see, this is it's nice and colourful. Lots of colours on the rocks, lots of colours. Right, like and subscribe and all of that, and I'll see you whenever I come back to finish this. So, bye for now. Alright folks, back to this one. Now, I'm going to begin up in here. And I don't want too much detail in it, but I do want some detail in it. So let's begin with it. Oh, I need to open up my new mixture of Gamsol 50 with liquid. Gamsol with the liquid. It helps it dry and a little bit of her. It helps it dry fast while at the same time making it a nice viscosity for me. A little bit brighter. I'm going to put a little bit of cerulean in it. Okay, now. Very good. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just creating a little, the idea of those pine trees up in the distance here. Right. Right, so. Bum, ba, boom, boom, boom. Off in the distance we're way off in the distance. So it's not going to be too saturated. A little bit greyed out. Bit of a cool green is what I'm after here. And I'm after coming down the side of this, just in here. And now. Pushing it out to create those branches that you get from pine trees. Very good. Just trying to create the distant idea of these trees. That's all this is. Nothing too detailed because we're a way off here. Way up in here, no need to. I'm just going to use my other hand here to create that flick that I'm after. All right. So again, another cool green, but a slight dark one here, just for in here. I just, as I say, just creating the idea is all. Bum, 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 bum. Alrighty now. Bum, 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 bum. Hopefully you can see this at an early stage here. I'm just creating the idea of what I'm doing, of what I'm after. So a dull green here. Not too much black in it, but certainly some sky in it. And I think I want to knock that back even further. I'm going to grey it out with a little bit of warmth, a little bit of oxide, and then a little bit of raw umber. Really greying out this green. Okay. A little bit more blue in it, a little bit more cool blue in it too. A little bit of cerulean and a little bit of ultramarine there. Is that too dark? Yeah, I think it is a bit. I don't think it's cool enough either. Alright, okay. Enough faffing around. Bumpity boom boom boom. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Just dancing that about now, just to create the idea of things going on up in the distance here. You don't need to tell every story. You want to tell your own story here, and then let these ones just be. Okay? That's not quite bright enough. Okay, a little bit of yellow and tiniest bit of white. Just to lift it a little bit. A wee bit of oxide red. Help grey that green a touch. Okay. Nice, look at that. Just really dabbing that on and scraping that on, leaving some of that background behind. Okay, now I'm going to work over here in this rock here. Right, so I've already got down. Should I wash this brush or get a different one? I'll get a different one. I've already left a nice idea of this here. So I'm going to put in just some of the white. And need a little bit of a violet color. No, not good enough. The brush is a bit dirty, so I'm going to just clean it off a touch and use some kitchen roll here. Now, back to this again. Okay. Now I want nice and rough. I want the water to be nice and splodgy and all of that. Yeah. Now, of course, I'll be coming in with my kitchen towel here in a momento. Okay, and just lifting some of this. Now, barely much is being lifted here. Barely much. Not very much is being lifted here. Barely much. What type of language is that? All right. Okay, now I'm going to just begin working on the rock face here. So I'm after a nice grey, a bluey violet grey, but grey nonetheless. Now I might have put a little bit too much black in that, but I've got some white over here I can use. Now, there we go. Let's see where we are here. Just creating this edge here. A little bit more red, just to help it. Give me some color on it, you know. Okay, and a little bit darker underneath here now. And put a bit of warmth in it as well. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Just dabbing it on, folks. Don't want too much on the brush. Just want to leave a trace of it behind. That's not bad. Okay. It's a bit dark. I'm just going to lift it a little bit here. That's better. It's still a bit dark for where it is. I don't want it to be that dark. So let's just lift it a touch. That's better. Just blending already on the canvas here. That's better. While I'm at it, I'm going to work on this rock beside the tree here. I don't want any detail on this, so I'm just going to put this down here, just a little bit brighter. That'll do. And we got the sense of rocks up there. Okay, now this little rock in front here, bit of highlight on it. It's almost not too bad as it sits, you know. But a little bit of, let me see, a bit brighter. Bit warmer. Okay. Nice. Bit of a different brush here. Bum, 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 bum. Let me just see now. Try and create a nice edge on this. Right up into this rock here. And then just drag it through just to create textures for myself. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. So let me see, not quite there, nearly though, getting there. Just taking a little bit off the brush here, folks, and then just going to work it in, just a touch. There we go. Now we have a number of rocks up at the top here. And I think what I'm going to do is just, while I'm here, I'm just going to add a little bit of detail. And as much as you don't want detail all the time, you still want some. And when I say you don't want detail, I mean up in the background here, you don't want it to be too detailed. You still want some textures and things, you know. Okay. Now, I'm going to work on this area here. Let me just get this area fixed up. So, a little bit of phthalo here. Some raw umber. Some oxide red. A little bit of black, just a bit. And some blue, ultramarine blue. Just dipping it into that mixer and loosen the viscosity a touch. So I'm going to just draw a tree for myself here. Okay, now you see how that has worked out, right? And it's left me a tree in the center here. So it has. Now I'm just going to extend it a bit over to here. Now, what I'm going to do is splay the brush, going to splay it a bit and just create these branches. There we go, look at that. Not so bad. A little bit warmer up in the corner here. Not going to worry too much at this point. Now, but what I do want is better branches here. Okay. Now, just a little bit of blue and a little bit of coolness. Just brightening it. Excuse me. Just brightening it. I can't say it. Brightening it up a touch. Here and there. Probably a bit more than that. Very good. Okay, just creating that coolness in there and just leaving it be for now. Okay, now let's here area here and moving across this here. Let me see, what do I think about the top at the minute? I'm not quite there with it, but I'm getting there. So a nice warm fixture here. But dark, warm and dark. So some raw umber, some oxide red, a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue, and just a little bit of this new mixture. Yeah, probably a little bit more. Now rather than just brush this on, I'm going to take a good bit off the brush and I'm just going to dab this on in order to create the textures, leaving some of that behind, some of that background painting. Want to leave that behind, some of it, not all of it. Dancing it about, folks. Not being afraid of it. Okay. And your little one over here just. Okay. And I don't think I think it's a bit too dark. So I'll just fix it just by slightly removing some of it. Now, now that I have some of the color here, I'm going to work here. So, nice grey, a nice velvety grey. Okay, just checking for tone here. Probably a bit more violet, a bit more red in it. Just checking for tone before I lay down any shapes here that I'm after. Okay. Now, yeah, I think that's okay. Yes, I think that's okay. A little bit darker in certain areas, just to have a tonal shift. Barely noticeable shift, but a shift nonetheless. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. It's taking its time, but that's a nice thing about it, isn't it? That you get to do this over and over again. I genuinely think that that's a lovely thing about it. You get to practice time and time again. And time again. It's all about the willingness to learn. To put your expectations down for a while. And learn how rocks are made, how they're shaped, how they're formed. And so on. You can see me just dabbing it on here because I'm trying my best to leave some texture behind. Okay, while not going overboard and like trying to fix everything, you know. Okay. Nice sharp edges occasionally. Helps sell the idea. But it's a nice big rock. And then the odd highlight just. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Nobody ever said it was easy. Alright, just going to lift a little bit of it here. And as always, trying to maintain the abstract, trying to maintain the texture of this. And where's another little flat brush? There's one there. Okay. Small flat brush. Just to allow me to get some shape. Just always looking around me, looking at the camera to see if how it's coming off, what it looks like on the camera. Just having a wee look occasionally. It does you no harm whatsoever. Bum, 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 bum. That's it. Just little bits at a time, folks. Trying to shape it to the way you want it. That's all. Creating those edges. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little break. And I'll be see you all soon enough. Bye for now. Actually, just before I head on, I just noticed something that I'm going to pull this. I forgot to pull this out. There, look at that. Get that color back into this small mini waterfall up here. Just getting that back into it. And then that will do. I'll see you soon enough. So bye for now. Okay folks, now back to this one. Right, just going to continue working on this, and there's a few things that I'm not entirely happy with around here, but I'll make myself happy with them. Right, so let us see now. Get ourselves some things going on here. I want to get this area up in here done. So a little bit of green is all I'm going to do here. And I'm going to dull the green out a bit, using a little bit of raw umber and a little bit of oxide red. That should do it. Now, Just along here, look at that. And what this is for is just to level off this waterfall a little bit. I think it's a bit too... It was a bit too unruly for being up here. There we go, and have that coming down around here a bit. I'm going to be wiping most of this off here. Just along here, just gently. All that is a gentle tone. Right, now let me see. Let me just continue. Just an ordinary little round brush. I'm just going to continue with this area up in here. Oops, a bit too much black on that. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Okay. I'm just going to take a good bit off the brush, more of a glazing here than I just kind of want to bring this out a little bit, and just along here, just to create some depth in this. You see, like so. It's not so bad now. Okay, a little bit brighter on the other side. Just here, a little bit brighter still. Put a little bit of that mixture on it. There we go. Just reshaping that a little bit. Oh, something happened to my computer there, but I think it's okay. Now, I think I just want to cool this area down here a little bit. Cool it down a little bit is what I'm trying to say. Put a little bit more sky in it. Okay, now a good bit of white on this one. Yeah, too much. Too much. Okay. All right. Just cooling this down a bit and a little bit brighter. And keeping some darker areas, of course. All right, as I say, I'm just bringing that down a bit is all. Now, I really don't want to spend any of the time on this, any more time than necessary, I'll say. So I'm just going to level this off along here. There we go. Now that's not very level, is it? There we go, that's a bit better. All right, let's bring in some, I need to put out a little bit of white here. Dun, 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 dee, do, 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 do. Okay, now let's see where we are here. Oops, a little slip of the brush. Too much on the brush as well. Okay. Just working away at it, folks. It's not always easy to keep your mind on what you're doing and talk at the same time in order for entertainment values, you know. It's not always that easy, but hey ho, I will try my best to keep you entertained. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Anyway, I had a comment recently, and I don't know what happened to it. It was up for a very short period of time, and then it went away. I suspect they deleted it, and it just said, "You're too goofy." Okay, that my teaching was too goofy. I don't know. All right, well, I won't be changing it. So I won't. So I think that maybe they can go elsewhere if that's the case. It's how I would view it anyway. Right now. And let me see. Just while I'm here, I might as well just add. I'm not. Not yet. Not yet. Just thinking to myself, folks, is all. Okay, now up in here, I want to get this here rock kind of almost settled today, so that I can do my own things with it, you know. Plenty of white in this one. Put a little bit of this liquid into it. A little bit of pink as well. And again, all the daubing effects will create the broken rock face. Hopefully, that's the intent anyway. Whether it works or not is another thing. It's kind of just scraping it on over the dry surface, trying not to cover everything completely up. This way you have a nice broken textured rock. That's the point anyway. Whether it works or not, we'll see. Okay, now I want to bring up that violet, but I'm going to use a different brush actually. Just a bit of a, or if I can find it, there we go, wee softer. It's just a soft, cheap brush. I don't even think that their names are, it's a golden 10 I think from Amazon. It's quite cheap. I wouldn't get caught up in in this brush that I'm using. It really is quite cheap. Now, let me see, it needs to be a bit grayer than that. So, now what grays out a violet-y, a blue violet? Yeah, a little bit of yellow, folks. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Far too much. Far too much. But I will continue mixing on this. And that should bring it back. And use a little bit of raw umber too. And of course, there's always the option of having lots of different tones and colors in this, you know. You're not subject. Hold on a wee second while I think myself around this. You don't have to do the same color the whole way through. Okay, now. Okay. This is really properly just a scumbling act here. Trying my best not to get away from my shapes. Look at that, eh? Just drag that down, make that a bit more shadow-like type thing. Okay. Not entirely there yet. Not entirely. It's a bit better, I think. Yes, it's a bit better now. It's a bit dark, but I'm okay with it. No, that's okay. I'm all right with that. And hopefully you see that it's trying to act as a bit of a shadow here. But I'm going to fix up this rock, fix up this area here, and we'll see where we land here. This tree here, just having a wee look at. I'm going to oil it out and see, but not yet. Right, so I want to continue to work on this rock. Not entirely happy with it, so I'm going to make myself happy with it. Okay. And the reason I'm not happy with it, one of the main reasons I'm not happy with it, is just that it's not very textured, is all. So I'm just going to lay in just a little bit of texture over it, here and there. Just try and not completely outdo what I've done. As I say, I'm not that happy with it, but I'm not that unhappy with it either. All right. Okay. And let's work on this one here. Different brush. A different brush. Oh, excuse me, dropping my stuff. Get my trusty old kitchen towel here. Okay. Just cools and warms and just messing around with it, you know, not excuse me. Okay. Boom. So let me see here. What do I want here now? I'll just edge this off a little bit. Okay, now I think that lends for a bit of a rock. So I'm just going to continue on with this and see. Just lots of little colors. Putting them on and dabbing them off. And let me see. But grey as well, you know, like a blue grey, a green grey, a red grey, and so on and so on. Lots of colours. Putting them on and then dabbing them off in order to try and keep that underpainting. Some of it popping through to create nice textures. And that is kind of what I should have done with this one here. But we are there now, so. Okay. Now I'm going to go for a nice grey. I'm going to use this here and then just grey it out. A little bit of blue in it. I'll make it a cool grey. A little bit of cerulean blue in it. Always in mind of trying to keep the abstract. It's not always easy, you know, how our minds work, trying to order everything and keep it ordered, and you know, it's not always how our minds work. So some red, some raw umber, just to get a bit of a different color into this multicolored rock. Okay, wiping that brush off a touch. A little bit of white to this mixture. Bum. Okay, I think I'm going to all but leave that. See what it's like when it's dry. When it has dried out a bit, I'll darken this little area here first before I move on. Just creating that. And a few darker patches just in here. Alright, okay. Now, this one beside it here, let's have a wee look at it. Pretty much the same thing. Alright, now let me see. I think that's a bit blue, but yeah, it's okay. I'll just knock it back a bit on the canvas with a little bit of green. I'll grey it out a touch. Now let me see. Let me just lift a little bit of it here. Okay, now I'm just going to put the shades in first, or the shadows in first down the side here, before I continue. A little bit warm, put a little bit of red in them. Let me see now. Just kind of trying to create some sharp edges that we often see in these things. And then I'm going to have that, instead of it having a sharp edge around, just going to bring it around here. Okay. Some highlight. Kind of probably a bit too wet. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's coming off okay. All right. Now, just having a wee... I think this one is too similar to this one, so I'm going to just break it up a bit. It's a bit better. Okay. So my focus today is mostly on the rocks, and the water will be lost because it'll be spraying up and out over everything. So I will be doing some water as I'm going along because I just need to put it in where I believe it needs to go. Now, so now let me see, where am I here? Nice warm black. Let me see, probably a bit darker than that. Put a little bit of ultramarine in it. Okay, a touch of this mixture. Now, okay. Now for some of that water. I want to put in the darker part of the water for now, and then I'll highlight it whenever it has dried up a bit. So let me just get the idea of this rolling over like the waterfall. Just rolling over. Now, just a little drip and dribble here and there for this one. You don't want to do too much here. Just being cautious. Now going over the top. I want to leave this like a little rock face where the waterfall is coming over. Now one more, just along here, just as a daubing of it. And there we go. And I'll highlight that soon enough. Now, I'm going to work on these rocks here, but I may be going and sit down for a bit, feeling a bit tired, but I'll see where I am first. I'll work on this for the time being. If I get too tired, I'll just go in and sit down. Okay. Now, let me see. I'll work on this one. That's a bit saturated. A little bit of green in this. Just a bit saturated. I'm just going to outline it first. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Trying hard not to cover that work up. Yeah. The work of this background painting, I really want to keep that as much as I can. And this is going to be splashed quite heavily with water. So it's not, I won't be completely disappearing the rock. No, I won't be doing that. Very good. Okay, now let's just work that in a touch. Okay. And the side of it here. And the side of it isn't too bad as it sits, you know. You know what, I think I'm going to all but leave that at least. No, I think I'll be fine. Once I hit that with... Okay, it's a bit too dark. Alright then, I won't entirely leave it. It's a bit dark. So it is. It's a bit too in your face for where it's sitting. So let's lighten this up a bit. Bit brighter, just a bit though. There we go. And just brightening that a touch, just is all. Some coolness down and around the base, just with some ordinary ultramarine here. There we go. Now, okay. All right. This is just a case of little bits at a time. And I keep changing my mind because I work all over the painting, all in one go. I'm never really settled on the one painting. Okay, folks. I'm almost finished with the rocks here. I'm going to work on this one, and then I'll see where I stand, and maybe put the mist and put some of the water in, just so it's dry. You know, that type of thing. But we'll see. Let me get this in first. Nice rock along here. Keep remembering to change up colors. Remember first of all to change up tones and colors on rocks. And then remembering to lift the painting, lift the paint in order to create a nice texture. Okay. All right, okay. Now this one here, and this will be kind of the last one. I'm just going to make this one quite cool. This will be the last one for now. Anywho's not entirely, but tiny, lots of tiny little ones to go on here. I don't want to spend too much on these because I don't want this to be your attention. And the more detail you put in something, the more likely your attention will be drawn to it. And I want this area here to be the main attention seeker. I want a better way to put it. So, I'm not going to be worrying too much. I just want the idea of a nice rock face in here. And that will do, at least for now. Okay. Now, I want to continue working on the cracks in this here. That'll give me a little bit of time to see what they're like whenever I'm finished with them. Now, I want to use a rough brush for this. This one, it's just a hog's hair one. It's very splayed, but I'm going to try and control the splaying. But I wanted a broken. I want a broken crack here, so I do. So it's splayed as you see, but I'm going to use it in a different way. I'm going to. I don't want to do it on my finger. I'm going to press it into the canvas to try and create a straight line with a lot of fraying around it. Now, hopefully you can see this coming off. It's quite a stiff brush. That's not so bad, folks. That's not so bad. Now, I'm going to put this one on and then almost take it off again. Just lots of little divots and what have you within this rock. You know yourself, they're not all smooth face, you know. They don't all have a smoothness to them. Some of them do, but most of them don't. They have a little bit of texture. Okay. Well, the rest will be done with the glaze, I think. So I'm going to add in a little bit of water here. So I'm going to be the brightest part of it. I'm going to put in the undertone of it. So I'm just going to use a fan brush here. It's a bit rough, that one, a softer one. Yeah, that's not so bad. Wee soft brush, wee soft. And this is a size 6. And that's all I know about it. It's a size 6. Right. So we're going to go after a little violet here, which I almost already have sitting here. Some of this mixture, a little bit of liquid as well. I'm going to go for a slightly deeper violet. Just bum, 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 bum. Okay. Right, some liquid there, some of that Gamsol mixture, and to help me, I needed a bit bluer than this. Just to change the viscosity of it, I want it a little bit thin. So I does. I want it a little bit thin. And I'm just going to be cautious as to where I'm laying this down. And I'm not going to go too close to the rocks here, the edges, just as yet. Now a little bit thinner, because I want to be able to pull some of this off with the kitchen towel. Okay. And all those little shadows that you get within water. That's what this is. You know, as water is pouring down, and creates all those shadows. All right, okay. Now I want to edge around the rocks here. Some of them will have splashes on them, some of them won't. Okay, now let me see. There isn't too much to do here, just going in and around these rocks here. And just nicely. Now, this is helping create the idea of foam bursting up and around. And now what I'm going to do is add in, no, not quite yet, still a bit to do here. A little bit of a bluer tint here, down in here. A bit cooler. Right, so let me see. Okay. Just dancing this around, folks, not being too cautious as of yet. I'll do that with the highlights. And just keeping it light and a bit blue. And that'll allow me to mess around with it. Now, right, so I'm going to put a little bit of white out here. I've run out of it. And then we'll lay down a little bit of the white foamy areas. Now, it's not pure white. It's not going to be an exact pure white. It's not going to be far from it though. So I'm just cleaning off this brush. Add a little bit of green to it. Moving everything away so that I have some space to get this in. And like I say, it's not a pure white, but it'll look quite white, so it will. And from this point, just staying away completely from this, not completely, sorry, staying away as much as I can. It's a bit too viscous. Just thin it out a touch. Just staying away from it for the time being. Okay, so let me see. So far, eh? Now, tiniest bit bluer down in here. Again, just dancing it around. I'll glaze in everything else soon enough. Now, right, still a lot of work to do around the water area, so I'm not going to completely be covering this up. There we go for now. Now, let me just get a clean bit of kitchen towel. Just work this in a touch. There we go, nice and gentle. There we go. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that dry and then have a proper, finish it, I think is the words I'm looking for. I should finish it in the next go. I should finish it. Well, I don't know, there's a lot of little detail still to go into it, but for now, that'll do. I'll see you all soon enough. No, not yet, not quite yet. I'm just going to stipple this a little bit, if I can find my stippling brush. That will do. And just make this a bit more misty. There's still a good highlight to go over the top of this. Okay. Right. Yes. I think that's a bit better. I'll see you all soon enough. Bye for now. Okay folks, now back to this one. It's been a while since I've been on this one. I'm going to flatten this water out a little bit and create something. I want to work up and in around this area, at least for the time being. Just want to bring this across a wee bit. I don't like the way it's falling down here. I want this to be type of a ridge type thing going on, so let's create such a thing. I'm going to put on a little bit a little rock here, just to see here. Now, this one here has been sitting around for, oh, it must be at least 10 weeks now, at least, just sitting there. Nothing to do. I took a wee bit of a break recently, just a small one. Okay, so now we have ourselves a bit of a rock color along here. I'm going to keep it a little bit dark-ish for now, and I'll have a go at it whenever it's dried up. I just want to cover this area here, just to give me the sense of that there's a rock along here. A little bit of a brighter area to it, just along the top for now. There, now that works. At least for now, that's working. Now I want to bring this down a bit too. Just the idea that there are some rocks in along there. And that kind of, as you see, that kind of creates a bit of a ridge look to it. All right. Now, I want to clean this brush off. I want to continue to use this brush just to put in some of the details in Zevatar. Right, okay. A nice greeny grey here. So, what type of blue is that? What do you call that blue again? Cerulean blue with some of the grey that I have down here. Well, that's the rock grey type thing. And it gives a nice grey-green. And I'm going to just gently, I'm hardly any on the brush here, really scraping it off the brush. All I want is the idea of it. Just along here. Just work it in, and a bit too dark. So again, just creating that, you know, the way water has that green tinge to it. There we go. Lots of bit brighter. Taking a good bit off the brush here. There's hardly any paint on this brush. I really don't want very much on it at all. I'm just staining what I'm doing here. That's probably, you know what, I was going to say it's too dark, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is, you know. Now, just working this in, just taking a step back and having a look. Okay, all right. I'll go for a bluey grey green here. So I ease. All right, I see him again. Oh, hardly any on the brush. Just trying to create the idea of it here. Now remember as well, this is all going to be lightened whenever I come along and put along some of the whites in this. Yep, happy with this, coming along. Now, let me see, I'm just creating some ideas of things. I don't want to go too far. It's very easy to get caught up in the moment of just doing too much. What I will do is, because I have the colours down here, I'll work up and along here. So I will, let me see. Look at that, that's pretty much the same colour. So I'm going to change my brush up and get some of this background in here. Create better shapes in these trees. Too dark. Too dark. So get some, I think the color is about right, but I think it's just a bit too on the dark side. On the dark side. Let me see. Yeah, that's perfect now. Look at that. Just dragging this in now to create the shapes of the tree. You see them over here. Look at, see that? Just helps it a little bit, you know. A little bit darker on the other side here. Bit bluer, bit cooler over here. Ah, too dark, too dark. Too dark. Taking a good bit off the brush and just creating the idea. A little bit, loosen the viscosity a tiny touch so I can create some idea of trees. And let me see. Now a nice white, or not white, no, a brightened area for the sky. Same color, just more white. Just up and along. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Ah, perfect. Very good. Now this is off in the distance here, folks. I'm not going to give it too much attention to detail here, but I do want some in here. Okay. Alright, this is just for the darker side of the tree. I'm trying to keep it nice and grey, so we'll add some cerulean to it. And what's down on the canvas as well. I want to make sure this is a bit darker. I think that's too bright. Let me just see. It's just a touch. Just that touch too bright. Let me see here. That makes a difference now. You see where that's adding the shading there. Now of course I'm going to highlight it. Keeping it rough, folks. Keeping it rough. Now, just a little bit of highlight. I don't want to go crazy on it. Hardly any on the brush. Now that gives me the sense of trees up in here. I'll just highlight this one here a little tiny bit here and there. Just up here. You add one along here. Ah, look at that. Very nice. And hopefully, oh, excuse me, Windows 11 likes to constantly intrude. Anyway, let me just see now. Right, so let's get back to this area around here. Actually, no, I will work on this side here. While I have things, let me see now. What are we doing here? Let me just brighten this area up a little bit. Far too much red, far too much. And this is only going to be a scumble. How you see, rather than a paint. Too much, too much. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Right, a little bit of green on it. It was too bright, too in your face. A little bit of raw umber on it, just to really knock it back a touch. A little bit more yellow. So we'll have a bit of a warmish thing going on here. Yeah, that's a bit better. I want to put a bit of a tree branch in this. So I is. Right, let me see. Just taking a little bit off the brush. So a nice grey. And a nice raw umberish grey too. Tiny little bit of oxide red on it. I want to see. Now this is a bit of a tester just along here. Okay. All I'm trying to do here, folks, is just give you the idea that there's a tree coming up in here. There we go, let me see. Yep, you can see that. Okay. And let's add a little bit of highlight here and there. Oh, and I've got some phthalo out. Okay, I'll use that. Again, lots of raw umber. Really knock the green out of that. Some oxide red will also help knock the green out of it. I'll use this orange here. And I want it to be relatively cool, so some cerulean. And bring out that phthalo again, just a touch. You know, a bit cooler than that. Now, what I did there, actually, I'll show you. I will be lightening it with white. If you look at the palette up here, what I did there was I was unsure of how cool this was. So I came along, added a little bit of white to it over here, and went, oh, I can see how cool it is by adding the white to it. Now, I am going to add white to it to brighten it up, but I added a lot of it here so that I could have a better judge to see the temperature of it. That's one way of doing it, you know. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, a little bit more. I think this is too bright. Yeah, it is a bit too bright, yes. A little bit of black in it. I think it's gone too dark now. Let me see. Oh, goodness me. How is that brighter? Let me see here. That's better. Very nice. Just about to see that and no more. And that's all it's meant to be, is a little faint highlight. For now, I'll come along and do a little bit more a little touch brighter in a momento. Just creating the idea of these branches from this pine tree. I really want very little detail here. Just scribbles and whatnot, and what have you. Now, just while I have this on my brush, I'm just going to add in the gaps in here for where the water would show through. You see? A little bit more actually, you know. I'm just reshape this area of it here a touch. I think it's all just a bit too directioning, as it were. All right. Now, let me just give myself a moment here and to decide on where to work next. Where to work next, where to work. I think what I'll do is I'll just, while I have this on the brush, I'm just going to add a little bit of a thing here, just not too much, just scraping in a bit of a darker area here. Look at that, that worked out nice. Okay, same along here, just scraping it in a touch. Yeah, just helping to define it a little bit better than what is down here. All right. It's coming along rightly. So let me see now. The light is coming from this direction over here, so I want to highlight a few of these rocks a little bit better. So he does. Okay, a little bit of color in them too, because of the sun. You know, I'm just going to scrape this on because this is quite dry. There. Right. Okay. All right, now that adds a little bit more light to what's up in here. Okay, so now I think I'll maybe work on the whiter areas here because I want this to be dry soon enough for maybe tomorrow. So I'm just going to get a rough-ish brush, just an old beat-up cheap brush, nothing special about this. I'm going to work on the white areas here. Okay, now I've already got a lot of the color here, might as well just going to be using it. Let me see. Nah, it needs to be brighter than that. All in it needs to be brighter than that. All right. So I'll come up here. I'll use this blue up in here for now. This. Using a little bit of the medium that I have out. And just being random as you can be with it, you know. Just trying not to cover up things, but not being afraid to go over it as well. Let me see, just splashes up into here and over this new rock that I put down today. Just there we go. That's making it look messy up in there, which is what I want. Okay, just kind of just. Now, because this is dry, you can see how well that paint breaks up. I'm dragging it over it, and it doesn't come off in one. It doesn't come off in one swoop. It breaks up into lots of little textures. Gives a lovely detail to it. As long as there's not too much on the brush. If you get too much on the brush, it can I can override it. That'll create the smooth texture. So keep that in mind. And a little bit of, oh, this is the tiniest bit of red in this. In fact, it's so tiny I can barely pick it up. Tiniest bit of blue. Alright, again, taking a good bit off the brush. And let me I just want to roll this on. There we go, look at that. Keeping all that so random and so... I think I might change my brush, you know. It's okay, it's okay. I am the fan of using as big a brush as you can for the job. And this is a small brush for this job. But I'm okay doing it this way. And what I mean by using as big a brush as possible, if you're going to go for a loose interpretation of something, the bigger the brush, the more that will help you with that goal. Alright, I think I will use a larger brush now. I'm coming into the, I think what I will use is one of my little fan brushes here, just to get this larger area done. And I'm going to be thinning this out quite a bit. I want it to be kind of a white glaze. Oh yeah, I just need a spot for it. Where can I put it? Put it just here, a little bit more. Hardly any on the brush, really taking it off the brush here. And just using the corner here. It's too pink. It's too pink. What is? It's too pink. Let me just wipe this off. Add a little bit more white to it. And put it over here, away from the pink. And a little bit more of this. Yes, that's a bit better. Yes, that is a bit better. You can get that dancing around a touch. Don't want it too sharp or anything like that, but I do want... So I will most likely come along and blend it a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Now, hopefully you can see the goal of what I'm doing here. Just creating the idea of the water bouncing up and mystifying as it bounces. Okay, so it's just softening it up here and there. I don't want the edges to be too sharp, but not being too much with it, you know, not doing it too much. Very good. Right, okay. Don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I do want it to be dried. Right, so I'm going to do the same down here. Different brush though. Want a bit more control, as it were. Right, this is a, what do you call these? System 3 from Dale Rowney, 1/2 inch. And it's a short flat. Now I'm coming in along here. So some blues and some reds. Still quite bright though. But thin, bit of a glaze. Not quite a glaze, but a bit of a glaze-ish type look to it. Now I think that is too not white. Okay, so let me see. That's a bit better. Just keeping things lovely and loose. I mean, water is really not very uniformed. Even in its waviest of waves, it really isn't uniformed, you know. So keeping that in mind. All right. Now let's get some colors in it. It's for the tonal changes of things. I'm just talking, folks. Ignore me. Ignore me. Let me just see here. That's all right. I think that's fine. I'm going to do that then along here. I'm not going to work on that too much, actually, you know. I think I'm happy enough with it down here, but I am going to just, oh, the wrong color. I've grayed it, wrong brush even, I grayed everything out there, so I'm going to have to kind of start here. Let me see. All right. Just along here, just. Right. Let's work on these rocks. So now what to do with the rocks? I think just a few highlights here and there. Very little that I actually want to do. Maybe add a bit of, no, I'm not. I was going to say add a bit of color, but I think I'm okay with that. Right, so let me get myself a nice rock color. So what I'll do to create the rock color is a little bit of black, a little bit of ultramarine blue, some cerulean, more ultramarine, little tiny bit of red. That's cadmium red. Oh, too much, too much. Right, not so bad, not so bad. Just adding that ultramarine, or not ultramarine, what do you call it, that white to it. But I do want it knocked back. I do not want it to be a saturated one. Let me see now where we are here. Now that's almost a perfect match for what's down, which wasn't my intent. A little bit brighter. Now, I get my trusty cloth out. I'm using a cloth this time instead of the kitchen towel. Cloth takes off more. There we go. Yes, okay. Now, Just the odd highlight. I'm not going to go nuts with it, so I'm not. I got a nice blue here. I kind of create a wettish look along here. This is where the water is really hitting it. Okay. And just straighten this up a touch. All right. Just a little bit more the same over here. Maybe a bit brighter. And just patches of it, folks. I'm not after full coverage here. Then knocking it back a little touch. Now I want a nice wetty blue, a wet looking blue here. So I do. Because it's right at the water here. Aye, okay. A bit darker. I should have known better than that, eh? Should have known better than that. Now the reason I slightly admonished myself there was this was on the dark side, and I was using this highlight on the dark side. And unless you have a wee lip here that would reflect the light, I mean, the highlights here should be darker than the highlights here. Okay. Now, I'm just going to take a wee step back here and see where we are with this. Okay. Let me see. You can come with me, folks. Aye, okay, now a nice sense of light on it. A few things that I need to shape here and there. But I'm getting there. Yeah. Getting there. I think you can tell what's going on. I don't think you need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure this one out. Yeah, I think there's a few things. I'm just going to take a wee break now. I'm going to sit down for a wee while and then come back at it. See you all very shortly. Bye for now. Okay, folks, back to this one. I'm going to do a wee bit of darkening in a few areas here. I want a bit more of a pop along this tree and up and around here. So I'm going to get some phthalo green, some black. And this is going to be a glaze. I'll grey out the green a little bit with some oxide red. Now, I'm using this mixture, and there's not going to be much on the brush. A little bit of ultramarine as well. Not going to be much on the brush, just darkening the edges and all down around here. Now, I'll be coming in and wiping a lot of this off. Wiping it in, blending it in and wiping it off, that type of thing, you know. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same up here. Because of this, the nature of this, let me see, just a second. Just a second, I don't want to go too heavy here. Just because of the nature of this glaze, it'll stay wet for a bit, so it will. It'll allow me to blend and work it in and stuff. All of that type of thing, you know. All I'm doing here is just creating a bit of contrast. Okay. Now, I'll get myself a bit of kitchen roll. I'll begin to work this in. Just bits. Okay. Very good. Now this giving it a bit of a darker sensation or sensation. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say. Right, so let me see here. I just want to mess around a wee bit more with this water area here. I see him again, so a bit of blue and as in same again as in a glaze. Each type thing. Okay. Let me see. Just working this in and around. Now let me see. I think is that a bit too? It's not grey enough. We'll use a little bit of the green here. Green helps grey out of violet as well. Okay. Now, instead of using the kitchen towel this time, I'm just going to use a bit of a blender here and just work it in around the edges, trying to blend that in with what's down. Okay, that's not so bad now. That's not too bad. A little bit darker in some areas, but just trying to shape the water a little touch is all I'm trying here. A bit darker. Oops, too much. Oh, and too much. Too much. Bum, ba, da, bum. And this helps keep it varied, you know, get that interest into it. Alright, so let me see. Same again. Just working that in. Softening those edges. This is all misty in and around here. Just keeping those edges all softened. Alright. Bit better, bit more where I want it to be. Now I'm going to work a little bit on this here, so I'll probably I need a bit of cerulean blue out. This is a bit of a cooler shade. So ultramarine, some cerulean, a little bit of cadmium red. This is going to be a proper grey, so it is. But I do want it to be a bit of a blue grey. Bit of a violet-y blue grey. Alright, so let me see what it's like over here. Get a bit of white in it and have a look. A little bit more red, I think. Just too much. Too much, too much, too much, too much. Well, that's not bad right there now. So, just, I think this is too dark, am I right? It is a touch too dark. Right, taking a really good lot off the brush here. And just, look at that, barely. That's exactly the same as what's down. That's good. Good matching. That's what it is. Just bringing this up a little bit. No, not liking that. I'm not liking the uniformity of it. That's a bit better. So, I'll get my little soft brush out here, just gently this time, not so rough. Just taking the edges of all of this, having this as a shaft, having this as a soft shadow. There. Okay, now just for a little bit of variance, I'm going to put a little bit more coolness in it. Just here and there. Too much, too much, too much, too much. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-bum. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-bum. Just creating some different colors just as I'm coming along here. Alright, okay. Now, what do I think of how bright those rocks are? I think I'm going to... I'm going to put a little bit of... highlights on it, and I just want to see what they'll look like. Because I think we could do with a bit of a highlight. Just out of curiosity, see how bright that is? That's not it. Maybe a bit warmer as well, actually, you know, than what I have down. So now I've got my warm color. Just need to bring the tone up a good bit. I'm going to be doing that with some white. Right, so let me see here. Ah, okay, that's nice enough now. I think I'm brightening it. Just, I'm only lifting it just a touch here, is all. Just lifting it a little bit. And not all over the place, just here and there. You know? Bum, ba-da, bum, bum, bum. Nice bright light hitting that. Right, okay, now I'm going to work a little tiny bit along the bottom here of these waters, and I don't know if what I do need to do. I might as well I'll get my dark brush out if I can remember which one I used. Oh, there it is. Now, a little bit more warmth this time. coming in here, putting a little bit of the darker parts of it in here. Still the glaze, just. I'll be going over that in a momento. Let me see. Just pulling these whites out here. I want you to be able to see them. That's a bit better. Now, some cools. And all I'm going to do is use a little bit of blue here, is all. Now, the brush is already dirty, so I'm just going to keep it dirty. I'm just going to darken a little bit along here. Just toning that down so to get a little tiny bit more contrast. And so, now, a bit too much. Nice and gentle. Don't want to take off too much. So let me see where we are. Right. I think just going to work on the areas of the water here, and maybe that'll do it. I don't know. I'm not happy with the trees at the back here. So I'm not. Not entirely over the moon with these things here. And that's a bit better. I think I'm a bit happier with this. I say. Aye, okay, now that contrast between that dark tree and that white rock is nice. That'll help pop it a little bit. And there are a few spots here that I still would like to have a go at here before I move on to the just in around here. I would like that a little bit more and a bit brighter. Just dancing in the shapes of the water, folks. It's not all pure white, you know. It has its shadows itself. So it does. It has its own shapes and shadows. Okay. Well, same again with my softer brush. Just gently working that in. I don't really want any sharp edges along here. Nice and soft and misty. Right. So I'm going to place in this water here, and I'll see where we be. So we will. Okay, a little bit grey now. I want a little tiny bit of colour in it. A little bit of that oxide red. This is just my own personal choice along here, just a bit brighter and a little bit more viscosity, or a little bit less viscosity, I should say. There you go. And just playing now. I really don't want to do too much. I'm quite happy here, I think. I think maybe just tinting the water a touch, I think is what I want to do. So as if the water isn't too deep there, you know, it's kicking up some of the sediment from the base. Let me just take a step back here and have a look at this. Right. Now, I think I'm happy with this. Well, I think the only thing that I'm looking to do here is just to put a little bit of little bit more texture in the rock here is all. So quite a glaze, barely noticeable. Just little, oh, when I said barely noticeable, I meant barely noticeable. I didn't mean something that you can see too well. All this is little little textured pieces. It's the odd that the cracks and all that you get in rocks. Let me see. Okay, now it's very hard for you to see that on camera, but I assure you it is there. I assure it. I promise it's there. There we go. Right. Oh, I think I'm just going to let that one be. I think I'm happy enough with it. It has a nice brightness to it. You can see where the light's coming in, and yeah, look at this here. Just notice how flat that is. Nope, not going to settle for that. So let's get myself a little bit of a dark coloration here, and I'm just going to edge it out a touch here. Just create a little, the way that has come and it's all flattened down. All I'm going to do is create a bit of a break here, a break off of the tree. You see the eye now, yeah, and that's a bit better. Same here as well, just to take the flatness out of that. That's a bit better. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm happy with this. Right. Now that will do. Right, folks, well, if you would, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. So, bye for now.